began. And I think if we could go back into that dark epoch, we would discover many astounding things about ourselves.
Egypt and the Near East are not the only regions where ancient ruins taunt the mind with the riddle of how they came into being. There are many such places. This is one of them, the great ceremonial center known as Tiahuanaco in Bolivia. Not as old or as imposing as the pyramids of Egypt, what makes this site so unusual is its unique location. Some believe that it too could not have been built without intervention from a superior source.
The biggest blocks at Giza weigh 200 tons. The biggest blocks at Tiahuanaco weigh 400 tons. 400-ton blocks of stone used to create enormous constructions, 12,500 feet above sea level, in an area where it's almost not possible to grow any food today. The altitude is so high that the crops come out of the ground stunted. And yet again, we're asked to believe that this was done with massive labor forces hauling on ropes, pulling these blocks along. It defies belief to imagine that this was how it was done. You could not support ever a large labor force at that altitude. Whether we like it or not, we're looking at the evidence of a technology, and one that we don't understand. Like the Giza site, the site of Tiahuanaco also incorporates extremely precise astronomical alignments.
Perhaps the most perplexing sight of all in South America are the Nazca lines in Peru. Covering more than 200 square miles, a bewildering pattern of gigantic artwork litters the Nazca Plateau. In addition to figures of birds, spiders, and animals, arrow-straight lines stretch out to every point of the compass. Believed to have been laid down here more than 2,000 years ago, they are observable only from a great height. Is this a canvas of signs and symbols etched in the sand to honor pagan gods? Or, as some people believe, do they contain hidden messages aimed at ancient travelers from the stars?
These are very remarkable sculptures made by essentially moving pebbles so as to change the color tone of the desert surface. It appears that many of these patterns of lines seem as though they're oriented towards the heavens in some way. We really don't know what they were for, or what or how they were interpreted by the people who made them.
I think that this may be one explanation, that the Nazcans were projecting these into the sky and using them for religious and ceremonial purposes. But the Nazca lines really do constitute a mystery. No one really knows what they were for.
Like so much of the ancient world, Nazca broods silently, its secrets lost in time.
You are watching Secrets of the Ancient World. Ancient World.
Asia, ageless land of 1,000 legends. It is also a continent of intriguing riddles. During the 1920s, while exploring northern China, famous Russian artist Nicholas Roerich wrote of a remarkable incident in the Himalayas.
On August 5th, we were in our camp
And at about 9:30, some of our caravanners noticed a huge shining oval shape flying high overhead. It came from the north at great speed, crossing our camp before disappearing into the clear blue sky. It had a bright, luminous surface, brilliant in the sun. Nicholas Rarich, Travel Diary, 1926.
In the long history of this vast and beautiful continent, it seems that the UFO phenomenon has shaped many myths and stories handed down from generation to generation. A brief glance at the texts of ancient India is revealing, for here too we find the haunting presence of strange phenomena observed in the sky.
Gurkha, flying a swift and powerful Vimana, hurled a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe. An incandescent column of smoke and flame, as bright as 10,000 suns, rose with all its splendor. The Mahabharata.
Compiled some 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, the Mahabharata is a Hindu poem written in Sanskrit. 10 times longer than Homer's Iliad and Odyssey combined, it is a saga of conflict on a cosmic scale.
The plot of the Mahabharata, which is the great epic of ancient India, has to do with an invasion of the Earth by negative extraterrestrial forces. Basically, the idea was that governments of the Earth were taken over by beings coming from other planets who had the desire to control and exploit the situation for their own personal benefit. The story goes on to describe how godly forces intervened, and finally there was a great battle here on the Earth in which the issue was resolved and the negative forces were repelled.
Another epic poem, the Ramayana, was written more than 2,000 years ago. It too tells of conflict and conflagration in India's distant past.
The Vimana was a weapon so powerful that it could destroy the Earth in an instant. It made a great soaring sound in smoke and flames, and on it sits death, the Ramayana.
Prominently featured in all these stories are strange flying devices referred to as Vimanas. Could they have been UFOs?